Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. So, I want you to imagine for just a second that your life is actually a video game. I know, bear with me. Most of the time, we're kind of just running around in default mode, right? We're reacting automatically to literally everything that happens to us. Basically, we're playing as an NPC, a non-player character. But what happens the exact moment you realize you're stuck in that loop and you decide to finally pick up the controller? Well, that's when you transition into a conscious, awakened player character. Today, we're diving deep into Florence Shinn's framework, and we've mapped it out as a really practical system of operating principles. We're going to learn exactly how to master our inner control system. Let's get into it.
Okay, so here's our level map for today. First up, waking up the player. Then we'll check out the controls. After that, it's navigating the map, then making your move, and finally, we'll look at the scoreboard. Let's keep moving.
Section 1. Waking up the player and exiting default mode.
All right, Section 2. The controls. Programming the avatar engine.
Now, Florence Shinn has this absolutely iconic phrase, "Your word is your wand." And, most people think they're just being brutally honest when they say things like, I always fail, or nothing ever works out for me. But in this framework, speech is not just a description of your life, it's actually direction. Repeated speech isn't just harmless venting, it's a direct programming command that you are sending straight into your subconscious engine. So the command panel speaks, the engine records it, and boom, your avatar begins to live entirely inside that pattern.
So think about it like this. In NPC mode, a person speaks purely from fear, declaring, "I'm finished," which really just installs that fear deeper into the engine. But look at PC mode. A conscious player totally refuses to turn a temporary situation into a permanent identity. Instead of saying, "There's no way," they say, "I do not see the way yet." I mean, that one word, yet, is literally a doorway. It completely stops the command panel from declaring defeat before the game is even over.
And that brings us perfectly to our second rule, which is all about imagination. So let me ask you right now, what movie are you directing in your head? Most of us treat our imagination like it's this private, totally harmless movie screen. But an NPC uses it to unconsciously rehearse the worst-case scenarios. Like rehearsing a rejection before you even have the conversation, or getting embarrassed before a project even launches. They think they're preparing for danger, but actually, they're just practicing fear. The awakened player, on the other hand, grabs the remote control back and actively uses their imagination to rehearse an aligned future. They're deliberately choosing the direction of play.
Now, Rule 4 might actually surprise you a bit because it's about forgiveness. But listen, here. Forgiveness isn't just about taking the moral high ground. It is deeply, deeply practical. I want you to think of resentment as this background app that's just constantly draining your present attention battery. You know for sure you're in NPC mode when you're literally rehearsing an argument in the shower at 2 a.m. Your avatar thinks it's holding that other person accountable, but actually, scratch that. You're really just feeding your engine with an old wound. Forgiveness simply means saying, "Okay, I will not let this old wound keep operating my command panel." It recovers your attention. And without free attention, you just can't play the game awake.
Moving on to Section 3, navigating the map and handling incoming attacks.
So, what happens when the game throws a massive obstacle right at you? How do you handle incoming attacks without letting fear just snatch the controller out of your hands? Well, the absolutely crucial piece here is understanding Shinn's law of non-resistance. And let me tell you, this rule is incredibly easy to misunderstand because, honestly, it sounds kind of passive, but it absolutely does not mean doing nothing or accepting abuse or just avoiding responsibility. What it means is you don't allow the problem to instantly hijack your command panel. It's pure, unadulterated discipline. It's the player actively refusing to let the obstacle become the game master.
And here's how you actually execute that move in real life. Like when a really harsh text message arrives or a crisis hits. First, you got to do a PC mode body check. Just notice what happens in your body. Does your chest tighten? Does your jaw lock up? Because that is the NPC mode loading up to either attack or just completely collapse. Instead of fighting it, step 2 is to simply acknowledge it. And then step 3, say silently to yourself, "I see you, fear, but you don't need to drive." The tightness might still be there, sure, but the victory here is that you are now watching the fear instead of being the fear. And from that steady place of attention, you can finally make your real next move. Which leads right into Rule 5, listening for the higher map. Look, our default programming, the algorithm, the comparison engine, those old wounds, they all shout. They feel panicked, they feel super urgent. You know that feeling of scrolling through other people's career highlights and suddenly feeling so behind? That is loud, but let me tell you, it is not guidance. The higher map, or your intuition, whispers. It's a calm knowing. Now, honestly, sometimes it's almost boring.
It's that quiet sense that just says, hey, maybe don't send that angry reply tonight, or maybe let's take a walk first. Rule of thumb, if it sounds panicked, it's almost certainly not guidance.
All right, section 4, making your move, pressing A.
So, Florence Scovel definitely does not teach passive wishing. Without actual action, this whole system is just, well, imagination. You have to literally press A on the controller. An NPC always waits for perfect conditions. They'll say, oh, I'll start when the fear goes away, or I'll write that when I feel more confident. But the thing is, fear often only disappears after the player starts moving. You have to be able to distinguish between a busy move and a real move. A busy move feels urgent, but it goes absolutely nowhere. A real move, it might feel incredibly small, like writing just one sentence, clearing one single drawer, making one phone call. But it actively tells your avatar engine that a new pattern is finally loading.
So I really want you to ask yourself right now, what is one small action that tells my nervous system I am actually serious about this direction? Don't overthink it. It really doesn't need to fix everything, and it definitely doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be real and actionable today, using the exact resources you literally have right now. That is how you step out of the loop and really start playing.
And finally, section 5, the scoreboard, the square of life. So how do we know if we're actually winning the game of life? Well, Shinn's winning condition is this specific shape she calls the square of life. It's got 4 equal sides: health, wealth, love, and perfect self-expression. The crazy thing is, most people play this game obsessing over just one side while totally neglecting the others. Think of someone whose income is just skyrocketing and their calendar is packed with achievements, so their wealth side is super strong, but their body is completely exhausted and their relationships are wearing really thin. The square is not square. But remember, this isn't some perfectionist scorecard meant to make you feel bad. It's simply a diagnostic tool. It helps you see exactly where your attention has been stuck and where it needs to go next.
Now let's take a closer look at that crucial 4th side, perfect self-expression. Shinn defines this as the life no one else can live in your place. Because think about it, you could follow all the rules, build your wealth, stay super healthy, have a great family, and still feel completely empty inside if your life is designed just to impress other people. If you're out there living for parental approval or social status, or trying to achieve some kind of respectability based on values you never even consciously chose, well, you're still in NPC mode, even if it looks incredibly successful from the outside.
Which brings us right to the ultimate question you have to ask yourself before we wrap up this explainer. Are you building a square that is actually yours, or did you inherit it? I really challenge you to do a quick little audit of your board today. Which side of your square is quietly asking for your attention? Find that side, return to the controller, and make one conscious move towards it. Because in the game of life, waking up doesn't start with some giant clap of thunder. It starts with attention and the choice to finally make your next move yours.